This presentation will introduce the subject of my doctoral study entitled The Relationship Between Participation in Chorus and the Acquisition of Higher Order Reasoning Skills Among Middle School Students. Over the past several decades, the field of neuroscience has made significant discoveries that have led to various hypotheses related to music, cognition, and brain function. For example, studies have identified a likely connection between practicing a musical instrument in childhood, enhanced verbal competency, and nonverbal thinking. Findings reveal that children who experience 3 or more years of instrumental training surpass the control group in skill sets related to music. Beauregard and colleagues note that instrumental music training may encourage auditory acuity, fine motor skills, broader vocabulary, and nonverbal reasoning. Given the diffuse nature that music cognition seems to exert upon brain function, as well as the evident cognitive benefits of instrumental study in early childhood, this correlational study will examine the relationship between participation in chorus and the acquisition of higher order reasoning skills among middle school students. The study will address the following questions. First, how accurately can middle school student choral performance, measured in the musical elements of rhythmic accuracy, phrasing, and intonation, be predicted by a linear combination of higher order thinking skills as measured on Gardner's Multiple Intelligences Development Assessment Scales, or MIDAS? Second, is there a relationship between linguistic intelligence and musical intelligence among middle school choral students? And finally, how accurately can end-of-the-year ELA scores be predicted by a linear combination of music performance skills in rhythmic accuracy, phrasing, and intonation among middle school choral students? Evidence from neuroscientific literature and comparison of the performance of middle school participants and non-participants on the MIDAS will elucidate the proposition that there is no significant relationship between acquisition of higher order thinking skills and musical participation in chorus among middle school students. In 1956, Bloom and colleagues introduced a paradigm of the educational process now known as Bloom's taxonomy. This hierarchical model comprises 6 classifications, arranged from simple to complex and from concrete to abstract: knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. The theory finds its basis in the idea that before mastery of the subject can occur, a foundation of basic knowledge of the subject must first be established. Higher order thinking, then, consists of cognitive processes delineated toward the top end of the pyramid, such as apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. In short, the complex skill of higher order reasoning becomes the result of the more basic educational foundation that preceded it. Since the enactment of No Child Left Behind in 2001, school systems have endured the adverse conditions imposed by the strict governmental demands of standardized testing performance. Ultimately, this has served to focus the preponderance of educational resources upon tested STEM subjects at the expense of arts programs and other disciplines worthy of study. The pressure on teachers to produce high-achieving students has never been more intense, and therefore the need for school systems to implement research-based methods has never been greater. Yet, music programs are once again at a risk of elimination in many school districts, despite a growing body of research affirming the benefits of music on the cognitive development of children. Literature suggests a possible correlation between music cognition and the acquisition of linguistic skills, reading skills, and as a result, a potential relationship to higher order reasoning. Furthermore, research is replete with studies investigating the effects of instrumental study on some aspects of cognitive development. Despite a substantial amount of research demonstrating a connection between language acquisition and music, as well as evident association between linguistic skills and higher order reasoning, Research has yet to adequately explore the relationship between participation in vocal music activities such as chorus and its possible relationship to higher order reasoning. Therefore, the purpose of this correlational study is to examine the relationship between participation in chorus and the acquisition of higher order reasoning skills among middle school students. Higher order reasoning skills are the essential element of academic achievement. They are indicative of an educational process that has been properly undertaken, effectively managed, and generously cultivated. As a result, the education profession at large focuses upon ways to engender these skills in their students. However, in today's high-stakes climate that so rigorously focuses upon STEM subjects, music education and its potential contribution is typically ostracized from the discussion. This despite the growing evidence in academic and neurological research that indicates intrapersonal and interpersonal benefits of music study that are yet to be fully explored, understood, or explicated. The significance of this study, in part, is to investigate first the connection between linguistic development and reasoning, and consequently the potential influence that participation in choral music can exert upon the acquisition of the improvement of linguistic skill and, in turn, higher order reasoning as a consequence. This study comprises a quantitative correlational design. Based upon a post-positivist worldview, quantitative research focuses upon assigning quantifiable measurement to empirical data in order to test a hypothesis. A correlational model investigates the nature of relationship between two variables by establishing a correlational coefficient, a statistical measurement of the strength of a linear relationship between two variables. Because this study endeavors to understand the relationship between participation in chorus and the acquisition of higher order reasoning skills, a correlational design was warranted. Statistical data, including mean, median, range, and standard deviation, will be derived from participants' performance on the profile of music perception skills, Gardner's Multiple Intelligences Development Assessment Scales, or MIDAS, Georgia Music Educators Association All-State Performance Rubrics, and Georgia Milestone ELA exams. Employing the statistical package for social sciences, a Pearson product moment correlation will be performed to ascertain a positive, negative, or zero correlation among variables. This data will then be located on scatter plots that align with the research questions in order to ascertain the nature of the relationship between participation in choral music and the acquisition of higher order reasoning skills. Multiple linear regression will then be conducted to predict the likelihood of a correlation between choral music participation and higher order thinking skills. Participants in this quantitative correlational study derived from a middle school population of approximately 600 students from a medium-sized school district in Northwest Georgia. A convenient sample of 6th and 7th grade chorus students from River Valley Middle School forms the body of participants selected by the chorus director, who is the researcher for this study. The rationale supporting this non-probabilistic sampling decision was twofold. First, the nature of the study itself warranted a specific investigation of middle school-aged choristers. Second, and consequently, the corpus of selected participants emerged due to their immediate accessibility to the educator-researcher. As is often the case in educational research, budgetary, logistical, and time constraints precluded a generalizable random selection of participants, rendering a convenient sample more expedient in this case. Participants will be assessed using 4 instruments. Law and Zentner identified the inadequacy of conventional methods of basing the measure of musical competence upon an individual's musical training. As a result, they developed an assessment to measure musical perception independent of musical training called the Profile of Music Perception Skills, or PROMS. PROMS measures tonal, qualitative, temporal, and dynamic elements of musical perception and will serve as a benchmark measurement for this study. Applying the Georgia Music Educators Association All-State Chorus rubric, students will be assessed on their biweekly performance of an assigned portion of the chorus concert repertoire in the categories of rhythmic accuracy, musical phrasing, and intonation. These assessments will be archived via Windows Sound Recorder, and rubric scores will be compiled and maintained on file for analysis comparison at the completion of the study's testing phase. The theory of multiple intelligences that psychologist Howard Gardner introduced in 1983 questions the conventional conception of human intelligence. Whereas traditional notions of intelligence or general intelligence focuses primarily on linguistic and logical mathematical modalities, Gardner proposes instead a more comprehensive evaluation of intelligence. The Multiple Intelligences Development Assessment Scales, or MIDAS, tests 8 categories of intelligence: linguistic intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, spatial intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, musical intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, and naturalistic intelligence. The test takes approximately 25 minutes to complete. Responses on the online MIDAS questionnaire are scored by a computerized program on a 5-point Likert scale, resulting in 3-page qualitative and quantitative profile of results. Yesel and Korkmaz report a Cronbach alpha of 0.957 for the overall scale of the MIDAS, noting that 0.70 and higher indicates scale reliability. Given its more inclusive account of human intelligence, its broad academic acceptance, as well as its specific measurement of linguistic and musical intelligences, which are 2 key categories of interest in this study, MIDAS presents a credible and expeditious measurement tool for ascertaining higher order thinking in students. The end of the year Georgia Milestones Assessment provides a summative assessment system for elementary, middle school, and high school grade levels. It is administered for the purpose of providing information regarding student mastery of state-adopted content standards in English language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies. The English language arts component contains open-ended constructed response items, as well as writing portion response to passages that students are required to read. The assessment has a total of 51 items and will be administered over the course of 2 days. Students will be given a 90-minute window to complete the Section 1 on day 1, and a maximum of 80 minutes each to complete Sections 2 and 3 on day 2. These measures indicate higher order thinking skills in linguistics, and thus serve as a vital source of data in this study. Georgia Department of Education reports a test reliability of 0.85 for 6th and 7th grade ELA exams. The study will proceed in accordance with school district established protocol. First, this researcher will acquire permission to proceed with the research proposal from the Liberty University Internal Review Board. Next, written permission from the school system and the building supervisor will be obtained preceding the study's implementation. Finally, parental consent forms will be sent home to parents or guardians of River Valley Middle School chorus students describing the study, student and parental rights, risks and benefits, freedom to withdraw or decline participation, grievance procedure, and faculty supervisor contact information. Upon reading the statement of informed consent, parents or guardians sign the form and return it to the researcher, at which point the student is added to the study sample. The study encompasses an 18-week period during which students will receive instruction in vocal production, music theory, sight reading and ear training, and performance repertoire, during which time they will complete a battery of examinations, concluding with an end-of-semester choral concert. All pertinent data will be collected from this single middle school within a medium-sized school district in Northwest Georgia. The name of the school has been changed in the interest of participant confidentiality. Upon initiating the study, participants will complete the profile of music perception skills online during chorus class as a benchmark of musical ability. The chorus teacher will establish an online research account with University of Innsbruck website through which the test is administered. After establishing the account, the chorus teacher will undergo the online training provided by the university in order to facilitate the exam for the study. As an ongoing formative assessment measure, students will be evaluated on a biweekly basis using the Georgia Music Educators Association chorus performance rubrics, specifically focused upon the musical elements of rhythmic accuracy, musical phrasing, and intonation. These individual exams will be integrated within the weekly chorus instruction consisting of vocal pedagogy, music theory, and sight reading employing both solfa and numeric rhythmic reading systems. The chorus teacher will conduct these recurrent assessments during the designated chorus class time. At the conclusion of the 18-week instructional period, students will complete Gardner's Multiple Intelligences Development Assessment Scales online using their school-provided student laptop devices. As the sole administrator of the exam, the chorus teacher will undergo the MIDAS certification process comprised of reading the MIDAS professional manual and then submitting the completed user certification form to Meyer Research. Results will be downloaded from Meyer Research website to an Excel document and stored on a hard drive that will remain locked until under the researcher's supervision. Finally, at the end of the year Georgia Milestones ELA assessment scores will serve as an important data point as it relates to choral student musicianship. In this singular instance, the chorus teacher will not administer the assessment. Rather, River Valley Middle School classroom teachers will conduct the exam as students complete the assessment online via their school-provided laptop device. The school district provides classroom teachers with training in the Georgia Milestones Assessment under the auspices of the Georgia Department of Education. The examination will take place during normal school hours. Results are securely stored on the Georgia Department of Education server. Students will complete these assessments either within the chorus class setting or another classroom during normal school hours. The researcher will adhere to FERPA guidelines by reporting collective choral student results while observing strict student anonymity.